Good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. We get together with our distribution partners and now even our clients most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central, to support each of you. I have a brief topic to go over, and then we will get to our open forum. The open forum is whereby you're able to bring questions, comments, concerns that you have. What is it that you need to know to be successful? So you can go ahead and begin typing those into the Q&A box of Zoom, kind of like a chat box, and we'll start working through those momentarily. Before we do that, though, I wanted to review with you a new model called the Joint Venture Branch Office Model. Now, in simple summary, the purpose of this is to allow those of you that are recruiting branches to be able to share in the ongoing revenue of those branches. So if you're interested in building out a network of branch offices and earning overrides, this topic will be very relevant. Even if you're not interested in it, I think it would be worthwhile for you to understand how the model works. So again, we're going to go through the joint venture branch office model, and then we'll open it up for Q&A regarding whatever support, questions, concerns each of you have. So what we know is that branch offices are positioned to help others improve their financial literacy and access a minimum of $100,000, which is guaranteed in writing, to start or grow a business through the credit and funding program. So that's what we do. That hasn't changed a bit. And we know that each branch office generates, on average, right about $12,000 per client. And many of you are helping one new client a day. Some of you more, some of you less. But if you do the math on it, it's pretty good, right? Making $12,000 a client, you do 30 of those a month, the branch is generating projected about $360,000 gross income a month. So I think the issue that came up is some of you are running into other people that would also benefit and or just simply like to run a branch, but you needed to be compensated for that because obviously you're bringing value. You're bringing that new branch to the table. So we went back to the drawing board and looked at how we could construct a relationship where everyone wins. And so we want to encourage, I don't want to say we want to motivate, but we want to encourage you to go out and find others that would like to do what you and I do. Help improve financial literacy, help improve access to capital. But we have to make it worth your while because we know your time is valuable. So with that, we're going to today explore the joint venture branch office model. This is where you're able to develop a network of branch offices. Again, you don't have to do this, it's up to you. But with each branch office, we project that you'll generate around $90,000 a month from each branch. And we're going to go through those numbers because sometimes when you talk big numbers, people get a little overwhelmed, right? They're all of a sudden thinking, well, this is too good to be true. It's not, it's just numbers. We'll look at those numbers. The way that the joint venture branch office model is set up, it's one whereby you don't have to do the work. You're bringing in a joint venture branch office partner who's actually doing the work. So let's just do a quick analogy and then we'll dig into the structure. Let's say that you and I run a restaurant and it's going well, but we want to expand. We want to open another restaurant, same model, but in a different town so we can help other customers. Well, there's only so much time in the day, right? So rather than you and I figuring out how we're going to drive to the second town and run the second restaurant, what if we brought in a partner? And we say, hey, we've got a turnkey model for this great Italian restaurant, and let's put this restaurant in town B, and you partner, you run it, and we'll split the profits 50-50. That's essentially the concept. But let's go through mechanically how that works. So the structure of the joint venture branch office model. The joint venture, what we call JV, branch office model, allows for you to develop a network of branches. We say nationally, but it could be wherever. It could be locally, it could be regionally, it could be within your state. The point is they could be anywhere. Here are the specific aspects of how this works. So again, we're calling this the JV, joint venture branch model. So first of all, obviously, you need to identify someone that you would like to work with for a branch, just like in the example before for the restaurant. If you're going to open a new Italian restaurant in town B, we need to know who you're going to work with that's going to be running that branch. Now, we can provide you leads of people that are good prospects to be a JV branch owner. But regardless of that, we're separate from where the lead comes from. You're going to need a lead. Now, many of you are organically running into people just by many of your customers. I know a number of you have customers, have clients that have said, hey, I want to do what you're doing, and they're signing up. And that's great. The problem is, have we been able to monetize you, make it worth your while for facilitating that? I don't really think so in the past. Now I think definitely so. So now, under this JV approach, joint venture branch, you would be half owner of the branch, and then your joint venture partner would own the other half. So it's 50-50 between you and them. Now, if you want to alter that, make it 51-49, or do different things, that's between you and them. I'm just going to present a simple concept that's replicatable. But if you wanted to approach it differently, obviously you could. Now, what do we know? We know that there's a cost to get this branch set up. We're aware of that. And we know it's right under $5,000. And we know that we would normally pay you half of that setup fee to bring a new branch to the table, which is fair, right? Well, let's look at how to innovatively reallocate those dollars to accomplish this goal. So be open-minded here. So we know to open a new branch, the setup fee is $5,000. That's a fact. So let's say that, well, and again, normally you would make $2,500 of that. So what you could do theoretically is have your joint venture branch partner bring to the table $2,500, which is half, and you bring the other half. You might say, oh, whoa, Tom, now you're talking about you, the branch partner, bringing in half. But really, you don't need to bring in your half, because your half is what we would pay you anyway for commission. So think about it. So you could open a new branch. You're theoretically contributing half the cost from their eyes, but that's what you would have received as commission anyway. So you don't need to send us that money for us to send it back to you. So then the partner is contributing their portion, and that's enough to get the new branch open. Hopefully that made sense. Therefore, you don't have any money out of pocket. So you can go out and find branch partners, as many of them as you want, joint venture partners. They bring their half to the table. Essentially, you're contributing your half, which would have been the commission anyway. And you can replicate this over and over and over and have a very large, if you desire, network of branches, of which you're receiving 50% of the profits from perpetually. And we'll get to an economic model in a second. Now, you might say, well, exactly what's your role? And you could define that as you want, but normally you would be kind of the management consultant. You're the regional developer, if you just wanted to use that label. And so you're out looking to open branches, and you're looking for individuals to run the branch, and it would be a 50-50 between you and them. And so from that, you're able to own half of it and receive half of the profit. So let's look at how the dollars would work. So, and you could do the profit distribution on a weekly basis. Monthly is most common. So let's just look at it on a monthly basis. So you have gone out, you found someone to open a joint venture branch with. Let's call it with Joe. So you and Joe now have a branch in a JV model. So each month the branch is out doing its thing. Now Joe's doing the work. Joe's running the branch for you. That's the deal. When you brought Joe on board as your JV partner, you told Joe, you got to go run it, right? Joe, you're the executive director or whatever title you want to give. So this branch is just a normal branch, not an exceptional branch, not a laggard branch, just a normal branch. So the branch is enrolling a client a day, 30 a month. We know each client, if you're using the normal pricing, is 12,000. Thus, the branch is bringing in 360,000 using accrual accounting gross income per month. Nothing spectacular, just as expected. Well, we know that the branch retains half, and we do a 50-50 split with our branch license agreement. So the branch's gross profit each month is 180,000. So just normal as you'd expect. Well, if you're a 50-50 owner of that JV branch, then what would happen? Well, half of the profits go to you, half the profits go to, in this case, Joe. So that's the concept. So we develop branches. You're a 50-50 owner. And of that, you don't have any money up front to get the branch going. The other partner does bring their part to the table. And then you're able to benefit from 50% of the branch income distributed normally on a monthly basis. And if it's a normal branch, we're looking at around 90,000 a month coming to you and around 90,000 a month going to your JV branch partner, in that example, Joe. Now, again, you can determine how many branches you want. You could do this once or many times. That there's no maximum. There's no minimum. You could just say, hey, I don't want to do this. But I know for a matter of fact, a number of you are running into, if nothing else, clients that want to own branches, and we needed a way to monetize it for you. Now, let's talk about a couple other issues, and then we'll open it up for discussion. Let's say that you run into Joe, the prospective JV partner. Maybe they're a client, maybe not, but regardless, they're like, well, I don't have my 2,500 because they're bringing 2,500 to the table and you're bringing 2,500. It's just you don't have to technically pay your 2,500 because it's the commission you would have received anyway. So let's say that your joint venture partner doesn't have the 2,500. Hey, not a problem. What would you do then? Well, of course, you would enroll them in the credit and funding program just like you would any other client. That way they get the capital they need, plus you get money off their capital raise, and then they could put, if they wanted, 2,500 of their minimum 100,000 capital raise into a branch, which produces an ongoing revenue stream to you. Make sense? Second scenario, and then we'll get to your Q&A. How do you go find these people? Well, I think most of you would agree. Those of you that are active, whether it be Adam, just looking at the list, Adam, Audrey, Brenda, Bernard, just a number of you have already had clients that raised their hand and said, hey, I want to be a branch too. We just didn't have this model in place. Now the model's in place. So I don't think you'll have trouble finding people that would like to be a branch partner with you. And so it could happen just organically through having clients. But also, as we announced yesterday, we just launched the free small business financing consultant certification. It's a free financial literacy curriculum. We had almost 1,000 people yesterday enroll in that. So you could, if you needed to have some message to take out to the market, you could certainly lead with this free financial literacy. And then as those people are going through the training, they're finding out what we do and how it works. And then you could offer to open a joint venture branch with them. And again, as highlighted in yellow, we have a bunch of prospects. I mean, we had almost 1,000 people yesterday in the first 24 hours. I was up at 2:30 this morning helping process these deals. So we can get you prospects for a joint venture branch if you need. And of course, our contact information hasn't changed. But with that, let me make this smaller. And the most important thing we can do is dig into your questions, your comments. All right, so Ron says, good morning to everyone. Good morning to you, Ron, and to everyone else. Katori says she's going to go through the certification. And yes, we certainly do encourage all of our branches. Well, we encourage anyone to go through the new free small business financing consultant certification. It's 10 modules, so it'll take about 5 hours to go through, but it'll provide both what we say is competency and confidence. So you'll be both competent and confident in what we do and how small businesses can access capital, and you can monetize it. So that is excellent. Andre is asking about support for branches. So yes, so we're here to help you set up your branch, and then what you're getting, Andre, is exactly the message. So then you would be that resource in helping other people set up their branch offices. That's why they would want to partner with you, because you've gone down the road, they haven't. You know how it works, they don't yet, and so you're partnering with them. So that's exactly right. All right, let's see. Robert asked, can the performance fee be reduced? Of course. As the branch, you set your own pricing, and the main 2 price points for a client, which is set by the branch, would be the refundable setup fee. Normally it's $2,000, but you can make that more, you can make that less. That's up to you. You could completely eliminate it if you wanted, but that's another topic. And then the performance fee, you set it, Robert. So you can, and the norm is 10%. You can make it higher, you can make it lower. A number of you are at 20%. At least one of you is at 50%. So it's up to you. You, as the branch, you set the pricing. Now, again, there's some constraints based upon your license agreement with us, but in general, you set the pricing, and you could even give it away, Robert, if you want it. All right, so then Ken has the next question. Oh, well, Ron has another one. So Ron says, I have a client signing up tomorrow. Excellent. And he's asking if he can do 2 businesses. Yes, yeah. So it would just be 2 separate enrollments, and that's not unusual. I think many of you will find that many of the clients you work with have more than one business or more than one business idea. So each one is a separate enrollment. Each would be a separate contract. Each would be a separate refundable setup fee. But yes, that's very common and encouraged. We've had one client enroll 10 projects at once. That's the most we've ever seen, but certainly that is permissible, Ron. All right, so we've got a lengthy message here from Ken, so I'm going to try to interpret it here. So Ken says he's trying to evaluate the true net profit before expenses for his branch. Well, to calculate the financial performance of your branch, Ken, first you got to figure out your pricing, and we've just been talking about that. The normal pricing is a $2,000 refundable setup fee. You can make it more or less, and the normal performance fee is 10%. Clients guaranteed $100,000. You're guaranteeing to work with you/us. We're guaranteeing to work with the client to raise at least $100,000. So you know that there should be at least $12,000 coming in off of each client. So that's what we'd call your gross income. Now, when you get to your net income, you've got to back out your expenses. And I don't know what your expenses will be. Are you going to set yourself up on payroll? Are you going to do any marketing? You're going to get an office. I would assume and encourage all of you to get a company car, because it's fully tax deductible. But I can't calculate what your bottom line profit will be, because you're controlling your expenses. All right. So Andre asks, so in this model, in the joint venture model, if she works with someone to do this, we know that there's a setup fee. She's going to collect, in this case, Andrea is going to collect $2,500 from the partner. And then on paper, it looks like that Andrea is contributing her $2,500. So it feels fair, right? Andrea is putting $2,500 in, and the branch partner is putting $2,500 in, and those two add up to the setup fee. But what you and I understand is we'll waive your $2,500 because it's the commission we would have paid you anyway. You don't need to send us $5,000 for us to turn around and send you $2,500 back. If you feel more comfortable with that, we can do it, but we're just making it simple for you. But then at that point, then yes, it's a normal operating branch. It just so happens that it's a joint venture branch between you and them, but they would have the same branch set up as everyone else. It's not a different branch. It's just a different ownership structure whereby you all can leverage your expertise, your experience, your knowledge to be able to help more people set up branches, and it plugs you into the ongoing, perpetual revenue stream of that. So the branch itself is no different, just owned by the two of you. We have Veronica and Eric, for example. They're on the train. I don't know exactly, but I'm assuming their branch is 50-50. We have a number of you, Angela's on there. A number of you have partners, and you're 50-50. This is just partnering with others through this joint venture model, so you're able to monetize on an ongoing basis the performance, the financial success of the branches you're helping start. Hopefully that made sense. James is asking about branch performance, which is very good. That's right. So when you look at the branch license agreement, it does state that there's a 30-day grace period. And after that 30-day grace period, we should be helping at least 2 clients a week, 8 clients a month. That's the minimum expectation. So that's correct, James. And so we'll work with you on that, but that is the expectation. So rather it be a joint venture branch or just a normal direct branch, those are the performance expectations that are in writing. We'll help you accomplish that. Shouldn't be a problem at all, but that is true. But there's a 30-day grace period to get our legs underneath us. Lon's asking about financing, and Lon, you might have come in late, but if someone doesn't have, if your partner doesn't have the 2,500, I should say here, for their part, then what you would do is enroll them in your credit and funding program. We'll get them not only their 2,500, we'll get them 100,000. From that, you're getting 12,000 off their capital raise. And then, as we mentioned earlier, they can take 2,500 out of the 100,000 and put it into the joint venture branch if they wish. Lots of good questions. All right, so Andre asked, so her question is more about setup. So from a setup perspective, there are 2 of us on our team, AJ and myself, that are primarily responsible in helping you get your branch set up. And so if you need help with that, you need to reach out to us, and we're here available to help. And we've done it many times. We have lots and lots of branches. Many of you are making a boatload of money. If you're struggling, you just have to reach out to us. You have to let us know that you need help, and then we can definitely help you. All right, Adam says, I like the idea of having the new prospective joint venture partner go through a work program by assisting in calling and enrolling new credit and funding clients as an apprenticeship, whereby they can work off their branch owner enrollment. Yeah. So that's another idea you could have. I don't think it'll sit well with everyone, but essentially, to the rest of you, what Adam's saying is, instead of bringing up the joint venture partnership with his client or the individual, he puts them kind of on a work study, and you could do that, but a lot of people don't want to work for you. They want to own their own branch. But whatever works for you is fine with us. We're just trying to provide a solution to the problem. And the problem is many of you are running into people that want to have their own branch office, but you're wanting to be compensated for it. And in the traditional model, there wasn't much to share with you. But now with the JV approach, it's very lucrative, right? I mean, if you can earn $90,000 a month for your half of the profit from your JV branches, that's not bad, right? Because you're not the one running it. Your partner's running the branch. You're just providing the management consulting services, and you're a 50-50 owner. All right, so yeah, Ken misunderstands. So and that's my fault, not his. And we've talked about this in other training. So there's two economic triggers that brings money into the branch and that impacts the client. First, there's the refundable setup fee. Ken is thinking, which is my fault, not his, he thinks he has to refund that setup fee. You don't refund the setup fee. The grant refunds the setup fee. So of the $2,000 setup fee that your branch collects from each credit and funding client, that is 100% refunded back to the client. That's a fact. But no, it doesn't come out of your pocket. It comes out of the grant that we facilitate. So yes, the client will get the $2,000 back, but no, that does not reduce your profitability. And that's a great point. And interestingly, Adam and Sylvia both ask about an agreement to use for a JV model, and I know that they're working on that. I don't know that it exists yet, but we anticipate that would be asked about, and so they're working on that. All right, and then Brenda asks, what percentage work with this model, 50-50 partner? Well, it's up to you, but the normal concept of the joint venture branch model is that there's two of you. There's you, Brenda, and the example from earlier is Joe, and you and Joe own a branch 50-50. And so then normally you would each put in half of the cost to get it set up. And so with that, they're putting in $2,500, you'll collect from them, and you're putting in $2,500. But we're able to waive your $2,500 because that's the commission you would have earned from us for bringing on a branch. So you don't have to contribute anything financially in reality, but on paper, theoretically, you're contributing evenly. And then the way that it would normally be set up is then that normally the two of you, Brenda, you and Joe, would share the branch's profits evenly. I don't know what your branch's profits are going to be. The more successful you are, the more profits there will be. But if we use the normal numbers, we're looking at $360,000 gross income, $180,000 per month net income. 50% of that is $90,000. So $90,000 would go to you, Brenda. $90,000 of that would go to Joe. She says she doesn't see this as profitable, and it could be if $90,000 a month, Brenda, isn't enough extra income for you, then maybe it's not profitable. But for most of us to earn an extra $90,000 a month when someone else is doing the work is a pretty good deal. But I respect your earning potential may be higher than that. Okay. And yeah. So Tony mentioned originally when we first launched the branches, we had an incentive program where the branches were at a lower price point. That's correct. And some of you came in at that lower price point, but that time has come and gone. And so the branch setup fee is back to the normal $5,000, and that is everything what we're describing here. And yes, Andre, so everything about the branch is going to just operate just the way it normally does. Just the difference is the two of you are 50-50 owners. So don't make it too complicated. Nothing else is different. We're not changing the branch model. We're just showing you a way that you could work with people and be able to share in the ongoing revenue. That's all. And then Fu asked physical location. Yeah. So when you hear about the branch, it makes you think, oh, I need a physical location. You don't need a physical location. So you could be in Maine and the other party could be in San Diego. It doesn't matter where you all are. Branches don't have to have physical locations. So don't think of it as physical branches where you need brick and mortar. So that's why we say you could do this anywhere in the nation. All right. And Tony's asking about the refundable setup fee. You have to give me a little more context for that. But let's kind of wrap it up for today because we're at the 30-minute point, and then we will be, of course, back tomorrow morning. So the goal today was to introduce a way that if you want, doesn't matter to me. So I think some of you will latch onto this and do a lot of this, and I think others will see it as a distraction or, like Brenda, just not profitable enough, which I respect. But if you're running into people that are looking at wanting to have a branch like you, now there's a structured way that you can work with them that plugs you in to essentially 25% of the profit from each branch paid to you. Now, we know we do a 50-50 split between us and the branch, which we talked about here. And so then of the half that the branch has, then half of it would go to each of the partners. And so if we're doing normal volume, that would put about $90,000 per month in your pocket. Well, $90,000 a month in each branch partner's pocket. I do realize that may not be enough money to be worth your while, like for Brenda's case. But for the average person to have a joint venture branch and earn an extra $90,000 a month is a pretty good deal. I mean, a lot of people don't make that at their full-time job, and you wouldn't be working anywhere near full-time because you've got your partner doing the work. All right, so with that being said, if it's a model that you want to replicate, what do you need to do? Well, that's what we talked about. You need to go find people that you'd want to partner with. I think many of you already have prospective partners, and then you need to collect from them their part, right? You're going to collect from them their part of the branch fee, and then we're going to essentially credit your part because that's the commission we would have paid you anyway. So then we'll go ahead and get that branch set up. It's 50-50 between the two of you. We'll go implement the branch. We'll go execute the branch. The branch will help people. The branch will make money. And then you're getting your constant stream of profits from that branch. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Of course, we won't get together on Monday because of Labor Day, but we'll see you tomorrow morning, and we'll continue to field your questions. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.